By Schnucks, the friendliest stores in town. By Venture Stores, where you save with style at 12 convenient locations. By Anheuser-Busch Employees Credit Union. We make an intelligent difference in a complicated financial world. And by your local Caro Sun dealers and Parker Distributing. We bring comfort to inner space. And now, St. Louis Steamer Soccer.
Hello, Stallions. Good evening, everybody. I'm John Sloan, along with Bill McDermott. And the story of this game, I think, Bill, the Steamers notable by their absence, particularly in the goalkeeper department.
Right, John. Slobo has a severely sprained wrist, and Dave Clemens has decided, in lieu of that injury, which could easily get worse by playing this evening, has opted to use Manny Schwartz. Dave said it's not fair to the team, nor to Slobo, to put him under undue pressure by allowing him to play in such an important game. So it's a wise decision to try Manny Schwartz. Plus, Dave, since he's taken over the tenure as the St. Louis Steamers head coach, hasn't had a chance to see Manny Schwartz play. So it's good for both parties.
And some of the other guys out tonight, and I suspect watching at home, Tony Bellinger with an injury, Steve Fetcher, who is sitting out with a suspension, and that's really got to change what we're going to see tonight from the Steamers.
I would think so, John, especially since Steve and Tony are two valuable members of the defensive core of the St. Louis Steamers, who year after year are one of the leaders in the league. And in particular with what Dave Clemens is trying to implement now, they're being very good with their selective runs, so they've added a lot to the offense as well.
Now, I wonder, the Stallions have owned the Steamers up here, frankly. They've beaten them an awful lot. That's got to be on the minds of both clubs, I would think.
Yeah, we've won once in our last 6 attempts here, last of which was when we beat them in the playoffs in 1981.
Okay, then, I think we're going to have a pretty good game today. And the one thing I'd have to think is going to be really the crux of this game is whether the Steamers can come past the injuries and get over the break that they've got here. They haven't been able to win here. And we're going to see what transfers in this game when we come back right after you. Stallions nothing, Steamers nothing. 4:55 to go in the first quarter. Not what I expected so far. Bill, what about you?
It's been not a whole lot of urgency on by either team, John, in regard to the offense. Only one man advantage situation so far to really alter the two teams going back and forth, but nothing really happening offensive-wise. The Steamers had a couple of chances, some dangerous moments in the defensive end of the Buffalo third with these balls flighted off the near post and sliding dangerously across the goal mouth to the penalty spot, but other than that, nothing really dangerous from either team offensively.
The Steamers with a number of their key defensive personnel out for this game, Bellinger, Petcher, and, of course, Slobo Olievsky. They may be perhaps so wary on defense, don't want to get themselves in too much trouble.
Good point, John. You may not want to take too many chances coming forward, but they'll have to do so later in the game because that's an integral part of Dave Clemens' pattern. He wants players, of course, to defend and be selective with their runs, a quality run as opposed to a quantity. As you look at one of those defenders, number 3, Jefferson Dobry, native St. Louisan, played at Indiana University.
And puts that one into play, looking for Dan Musenfechter in the game for the first time. And a little pushing foul there. St. Louis will put it into play. Neil Cohen just across the red line. In Buffalo territory, who amounts to a quick shot and a quick save by Jim May, who puts it into play. A little fast break soccer being played. Moving across Iglesias. Quick shot. Just goes over the glass.
There's a perfect example of a definition, John, of indoor soccer, the lightning quick transition game. Jim May, immediately a quick outlet pass to Jermaine Iglesias, who when he had the opportunity, took that last defender on one-on-one.
And always exciting when you see that. You can't keep up that pace for an entire soccer game, but once in a while you have to do that. Let's take a quick break. 4:50.
From the deflected ball off the boards, and he just leaned back a bit too far. Didn't get his body over the ball. Consequently, it goes out of bounds. Let's watch it again. There you see Buriano, as I mentioned, just leaning backwards slightly. Manny Schwartz coming across the face of his goal, lightning fast from that far post, but he still would have been beaten on that goal.
So a break for the Steamers there as we get under the 1-minute mark in this first quarter. Still 0-0, the Stallions and the Steamers. Two teams prolific in the goal-scoring department. You don't really expect that. The Steamers coming in 11-11, the Stallions 12-10. In the middle, Lashev looking for Iglesias. Nobody's in the net, but Manny Schwartz comes out and takes it away from a couple of red jerseys and sends it out quickly to Ty Keogh down to the 32nd mark in the first quarter.
The Stallions, John, are third in the league in goals scored per game, averaging just over 6, just behind Chicago and Wichita. On the other hand, the Steamers are the third stingiest in the league, so something's got to give her this evening.
I would think so, and the Steamers will bring it up with only 23 seconds remaining in this initial frame. Be nice for the Steamers to put one in before the end of the first quarter, give Buffalo something to think about. Excellent defensive game being played by St. Louis, again, particularly in light of the fact that they've got a lot of their key defensive personnel sitting this one out due to injury and other causes. At the red line, Jeff Sendobri down to 10 seconds to go in this first quarter. Looks like we're going to have a scoreless first quarter unless somebody puts one in the net in a real hurry. And a 4-3-2. And that does it for the first quarter of play. And surprisingly, we have played scoreless. The Stallions nothing and the Steamers nothing after the first 15 minutes. Okay, then let's take a break after the initial frame. Stallions nothing. Steamers nothing from Buffalo.
Just another reminder, John, that is a 2:05 starting time for Sunday afternoon's match. As we look at the Steamers getting ready for the second quarter.
You look at the Steamer bench. Well, what do you think they've been talking about during the 3-minute break here? Obviously, how to put one in the net.
Well, I think, John, they've had, as I mentioned, at the first quarter, they've had some chances with some offensive runs made by the defenders, causing some confusion in the defensive end of the Buffalo Stallions. And they're doing a good job of marking up, not letting the Buffalo Stallions start their game where they're most proficient. That is the middle of the field. They've been closing it down nicely. They want the Buffalo Stallion defenders to back up and play defense, but they don't want to do the same. They let the counterattack.
All right, then we're underway in the second quarter. We're still scoreless here. Switching nets, of course. And Buffalo will bring it up until St. Louis steals it. Jeff Cacciatori's got Walters on the wing. If he can hit him, bounces it off the boards, and fanning his Walters, he might have had a chance to put one in there. Here comes Buffalo.
A good job. Good run by Tim Walters. A very difficult ball to judge coming off the near post as Cacciatori shot at the near post. Good job by Tim Walters.
Sam Bick and Carl Rose lending a hand to Manny Schwartz as he has to make the save there and tosses it out to Ty Keogh. Just underway in the second quarter here in Buffalo. Stallions nothing, Steamers nothing. We invite you to stay tuned for the Budweiser Sports Break, by the way, between halves with Jim Duff tonight with a player profile of Tony Bellinger. Back into play, crosses into Steamer territory. Ty Keogh will try to bounce it out of there. It goes into the crowd, however. 14:08 to go in the first half. Stallions nothing, Steamers nothing. John Sloan along with Bill McDermott. Hope you're enjoying the telecast on Channel 11 here tonight. Here comes Buffalo off out of the wing to number 11, Carlos Salguero. Sam Bick trying to get it out of the way. We don't have a whistle as yet. Schwartz gets back into the goal. And here come the Steamers. And tripped up is Sam Bick, no whistle. A bit questionable, perhaps. Left alone in front of the net. St. Louis will have to get some defense together. Buriano with a quick shot, score! Ernie Buriano gives the Stallions a 1-0 lead with 13:41 to go in the first half.
Buriano scores his 15th goal of the year to go along with 16 assists. As we talked about, a very important element of this Buffalo Stallions squad. As a matter of fact, they're 0-4 playing without number 4, Ernie Buriano. He missed the last 2 contests, 2 losses, John, to the Steamers last Friday and then to the Kansas City Comets.
You can look at a couple of the local lovelies here, the cheerleaders there. Now back to the soccer action, and the Steamers fall behind 1-0. And that's something they did not want to do tonight, did not want to do playing in Buffalo. 13:41 to go in the half. Buriano puts one on through, and the Stallions have a... Can he get it out to Redmond Lane? He can. Let's see if Lane can work around the defensive player. And some good defensive work being done by Buffalo down there. Tony Glavin, hard working as always, looking for Redmond Lane, bounces off the boards. Glavin misses the open net.
Boy, did he deserve a kinder fate on that, John. He's totally worked to make that play possible.
Steamers may not be through. Let's see if they can get the steal. That's Redmond Lane. Tony Glavin. He's got an open net. Glavin shoots. Easy score. St. Louis ties it up.
What an incredible amount of work by Tony Glavin just within the last 30 seconds, and he equalizes for the Steamers.
Oh, and talk about a team goal, Bill. Everybody down there doing a lot of hard work. They would not be denied. It looked like they were going to be denied, but they just would not give up.
They said, we are going to get this equalizing goal. We are not going to let the ball come out of the defensive third of the Buffalo Stallions while it's down here. They worked and worked and worked hard on that particular play. Tremendous work by Tony Glavin. There you see the end result of it. And Glavin, after doing all that work, still has the longevity of power, still has the stick-to-itiveness to deke the keeper. He could have easily shot past the keeper on that particular occasion.
All right, let's take a break with 12:24 to go in the half. The Stallions won. The Steamers.
And the Steamers want to call timeout with 2:43 remaining in the second quarter.
We're still tied up at 1 apiece here in Buffalo, and I think, Bill, not what we expected. What are they going to talk about now with only 2:43 remaining in the half? They called the timeout. What is there to talk about? I think they know what they're doing against these guys. They've been playing them for a half, and just what they can figure out.
Well, I think as we watched that last save by Jim May, then coming off his line to get involved in the defense, almost there to get to the ball first was number 19, Redmond Lane, but May making the save and then coming out to further clear the ball. As you look at Dave Clements talking to his players, you have the option of taking a timeout perhaps. So Dave Clements, with 2:43 remaining, saying that let's certainly don't get a goal scored against us since we've been playing so well in these first and second quarters and doing exactly what he wanted the team to do. The players coming back, the offensive players, that is, coming back, helping out on defense so that these talented Buffalo Stallion players, namely Ernie Buriano, cannot get their counterattack game started.
And Dave Clements, always good on a TV game with that red Irish hair and those emphatic mannerisms. You always know he's in charge down there when he's having a powwow on the sides with his players. You get a look at the crowd. Another good one tonight. The Buffalo Stallions have been one of the more successful franchises in the MISL. Tapping it back to Manny Schwartz. Steamers have time for one more rush, perhaps. Now down to the 17-second mark in the first half. We're tied at 1 apiece, the Stallions and the Steamers. Into Stallion territory, that's John Stremlau. Stremlau's got Cacciatore in front of the net. Quick shot, wide right, down to 5 seconds. That's cleared all the way back, and that's going to do it, everybody, for the first half. 1 second, and we're out of time in the first half. After the first 30 minutes of play, we've seen two pretty good quarters, and the Stallions and the Steamers stand tied at 1 apiece after the first 30 minutes. Not what we expected, but a very interesting.
A minor strain in his knee. But when he's healthy, Bellinger can play soccer with the very best of them, even though a lot of people may not realize it.
You've probably heard it said before. He's such a good player, they say, and does his job so well, you hardly even notice he's out there. Well, that description fits Steamer defender Tony Bellinger quite well. Number 6 is a 3-time MISL All-Star who's known for his ability to stick to his man like a spider on a web. And despite the fact he doesn't score a lot of goals and grab those headlines, don't think that Bellinger isn't appreciated. In fact, he's so well thought of that one rival coach told me he thinks Tony Bellinger is the best player in the league, bar none. 15 years now, such lofty praise certainly is appreciated, but Bellinger is the sort who's much more interested in how the team's faring, and you get the impression he's always been that way. Tony and his wife, Lisa, have been married 6 years. They were high school sweethearts in New Jersey, where both grew up. Their 5-year-old son, Anthony, is a big Steamers fan, of course. And in his own way, 8-month-old Andrew told us in no uncertain terms that he is, too.
We felt a little more comfortable here, I think.
Once he was given something to munch on, Andrew was content to let his parents tell their story. Tony first began kicking soccer balls professionally at the age of 19 for the Dallas Tornado. He was with the team for 5 years, splitting time between the Steamers and Dallas during the last couple of years. Finally, though, the team folded and Tony chose to become a Steamer full-time, a dream come true because he was born right here in St. Louis.
For me, it was really exciting because it would be the first time I get a chance to really play in front of a lot of relatives because all my relatives are still out here. My parents are the only ones that are in New Jersey. And so I was really looking forward to it in that aspect.
The first year, all the wives were just exhausted after every game because it was just so emotionally draining, you know, and you cheered so much. We were all hoarse, and it was just an experience.
And you'd never been through it before, even
No, never. It was different.
What else is different is that now Tony is beginning to get more and more recognition. But Lisa remembers when it wasn't always that way.
The first 3 years, it really upset me because I saw the great job he was doing, and talking to other people that really knew the game, knew what he was doing also, but it's people that really aren't that familiar with soccer, you know. Of course, the goal scorers catch their attention, but the last couple of years, the defense is getting a lot more publicity.
That publicity has come, and Tony has developed into an all-star despite the fact injuries have hit number 6 hard. In high school, Bellinger was operated on for a knee torn up so badly that one doctor thought he might never walk again, much less play soccer. And even now he plays every game with his trademark, a brace that protects an arm badly broken while he played in Dallas.
All right, now, what's the story behind that?
Well, that is from Dallas. I had broken my arm in a practice, and in fact, Steve Petch was involved on the play. We were scrimmaging and both going for a ball, and I sort of tripped over him and landed a little crazily on the arm and broke both bones, and so I have 2 plates in the arm. So now the bone is totally healed and everything, but I have to wear the cast for protection. But the funny part of the story is the way I did it when it happened. It was right during a full eclipse of the sun down in Dallas. And our trainer, I remember the eclipse so well because our trainer was all the way at the other end of the field with a box on his head watching, you know, where you cut the hole in the back of the box. And he's watching the eclipse, and here I break my arm, and he doesn't know about it, and about 4 or 5 of the players are yelling for him. And he couldn't hear with the box on his head, and finally someone had to run down and get him, and he finally gets up there after about 5 minutes holding the arm still.
So, despite the injuries and eclipses, and despite the fact he quietly goes about his work, Bellinger does have his fans. Coaches and players certainly appreciate his skill. Wife Lisa, of course, is his #1 fan. Even son Anthony used to like Tony Glavin more, but now he's switched.
Who's your favorite player?
What number?
No,
Just say it.
6.
And who knows, if Tony continues to play well, maybe even little Andrew will be bowled over and join the ever-growing Tony Bellinger fan club.
Alrighty, now let us go to Buffalo and get a live update from John Sloan. John?
Thank you, Jim Duff. We've played 30 minutes here. We have 30 minutes to go, and the 1-1 contest and the lone steamer goal, of course, by Tony Glavin, and he really looked good doing it, Bill.
Yeah, Ernie Buriano scored in the second quarter of 119, and Tony equalized at 2:36. Let's watch how the play developed again, John. Here is Ian Anderson and Redmond Lang getting goal side, as we talked about throughout the whole first half, really concentrating. The ball eventually ends up in Tony Glavin's right foot, takes on the last defender, then the keeper beats him easily, and there's the equalizer at 2:36 of the second quarter.
Okay, then, let's go back to the studio and Jim Duff and St. Tony Glavin, the 1-on-3. I don't know what that means. And it's taken away. Glavin would have done so that he could have beaten the 3 men he was charging upon at that point. Going into the corner, Pisano, quick shot, score! Oh, what a nice shot by Oscar Pisano, number 21, and that gives the Stallions the 2-1 lead with 12:10 remaining in the third quarter.
Good play by the Stallions, John. They flighted a long diagonal ball. Manny Schwartz saw the play developing, came out, tried to cut off the angle, and just when he was making a couple of steps to come out at the near post and cut off the angle, here's what occurred. Here's number 21, Oscar Pisano, going to the space, and a very difficult shot indeed, seeing in large part due to the fact that Manny Schwartz had cut off his angle to that far post, but he just inched it by him in the far post, 2-1 for the Stallions.
So the Steamers find themselves trailing for the second time in this contest. 11:50 to go in the third quarter. Buffalo 2.
Play by Sam Bick as he immediately got back on defense. He lost the ball to Mike Lashchev. Sam turned into the flow of Lashchev, who was coming forward, lost the ball. Sam immediately retrieved and got back on defense.
So the Steamers will try to put it together again. Dan Musenfechter scores!
What an absolutely beautiful goal by the Steamers. An equalizing goal by number 16, Dan Musenfechter. He ran into the open space, running for the long flighted ball. Beautiful goal by Dan Musenfechter, as you see Ty Keogh coming off.
And oh, was that quick out of nowhere on a quick, really just the transition game. All of a sudden he broke free. There were no Stallions around him, and you see it again.
Here you see Dennis Mepham. He's caught stargazing. He don't know what's going on. Dan Musenfechter running into the open space. It was flatted over Dennis Mepham's head, and Musenfechter makes no mistake. He sees May coming off his line, hits it first time. He adjusts his step. He plants his foot, hits it very nicely. That's an equalizer for Dan Musenfechter. A beautiful goal.
Well, he makes things happen. Musenfechter does not play as much as some of the other Steamers. Does seem to make things happen. Right place and the right time that time around. And we're tied at 2-2 now in this seesaw game. Coming away with it. It's got Tony Glavin on the wing. Lane going into the corner against Murray. And Redmond goes down. He gets up with the ball. And it bounces in. Is that good? Yes, it is. The Steamers take the lead on a weird goal, but they all count.
Yes, it's there, John, and a go-ahead goal for the Steamers. Redmond Lane, a splendid amount of work. He says, hey, whatever works. He did not give up on the ball. First of all, he got back on defense, which all the players have been doing tonight. There you see Redmond Lane getting the loose ball off the scrimmage from Tom Murray. Hits it at the near post. May misjudging it drastically as Dennis Mepham again caught ball watching, and it's 3-2 in favor of the visiting Steamers.
So a couple of defensive lapses in the last couple of minutes have nearly cost the Buffalo Stallions. They have allowed, really, the St. Louis Steamers to take a 3-2 lead down to the 9-minute mark remaining. In this third period, Tim Walters looking to get a shot off, marked nicely by Jim Sinclair, and it goes into the crowd. 9 minutes exactly. Is leading at 3-2. However, with 8:37 to go in the third, Tim Walters will serve this penalty, and the Steamers will be on the short end of the man advantage. Came at a bad time as the Steamers had taken the play away and scored a couple of quick goals. But now the man advantage, the Stallions have a chance to get all even. We're underway. Salguero sends it into the corner. Salguero trying to get his own rebound. Carlos with a quick shot. Open net. Score! Man advantage goal. And number 18, Mike Lashev.
Mike Lashev, who led the squad last year in man advantage goals with 10. You're just wondering how long the Buffalo Stallions would go before breaking out of this slump, John, as I talked about the fact that they're 13th out of 14 teams in man advantage situations. Let's watch it again as Carlos Salguero takes a shot. The ball rebounds off that foreboard, and there's Lashev, of course, being able to run into the space unmarked. Steamers being a man down. Steamers a bit congested in that one area. 3 players on 1 offensive player. Lashev left unmarked at the far post. He had another option to either lay it off to Iglesias and shoot. He took the latter, and it's 3 each.
So the Buffalo Stallions take advantage of the man advantage situation to tie up the Steamers at 3-3. And we have just got a tight soccer game, and I believe that's the way it's going to go all the way down. It looks like the third period, 4:30 to go. A couple of scores at halftime. LA 2, Kansas City 1 elsewhere in the MISL. With 8 minutes left in that contest to San Diego, Baltimore leading the Sockers by a score of 4-2. You get underway here. Ian Anderson will take the corner kick for St. Louis in front of the net. Score! What a beautiful, what a pretty play.
Dead ball situation by the Steamers. They've done it so many times before. As a matter of fact, on 3 different occasions against San Diego, John.
As you saw, Tim Walters, number 13 on that set play, put it in. Take it away, Bill.
Now watch Ian Anderson more or less creating a dummy by just standing there and saying, well, let's get on with the play. Then waiting for the options to develop. He sees the first option is available, and that is Walters coming towards the fly to the ball, running towards the near post. It is virtually impossible to stop that play from occurring.
So we have had a very lively second half so far. The Steamers leading this one now 4-3, getting down to the 4-minute mark left in the third quarter. The Steamers leading at 4-3. John Sloan along with Bill McDermott. Hope you're enjoying the telecast tonight. Good game from Buffalo. And we'll get a whistle.
Obstruction violation on the Buffalo Stallions. In the person of number 5, Jim Sinclair. You see wearing the captain's arm badge. Captain for the Steamers this evening in the absence of number 4, Steve Petcher, is number 2, Carl Rose.
In front of the net, Tony Glavin with a quick header. Gets it off, but the save by Jim May. Down to the 22nd mark, running out of third quarter. Looks like the Steamers may take that 4-3 advantage. Oh, no. A mix-up on defense. Drew Ferguson puts it in for the Buffalo Stallions. The Steamers a mix-up on defense, as you saw it down there. They should have let the ball roll on through to Manny Schwartz. But the defenders got in the way and gave it to Buffalo, and comes out to a goal. 14 seconds left in the third.
That's exactly what happened, John. Manny was coming off his line, and I don't know if he talked when he came off the line. Watch to see the play develop. As Ty Keogh, thinking that last defender was coming behind him, not knowing that Manny had the play covered coming off his line. Just a mix-up on the communication.
There have been several goals of that kind scored in this game so far, so it looks like now as we're down to 4 seconds, 3 seconds. And we get a quick whistle, so it looks like we're going to go into the fourth and final period tied at 4 apiece. So you couldn't have written a better script for this one. On the 3-line violation, they bring it back. 3 seconds to go. St. Louis will put it into play. And deflected 2 seconds, 1 second. And that's it for the third period. So just 1 period, 15 minutes of soccer to go, and we're tied up at 4 apiece. And a good soccer game in this one.
Boy, it is, John. You mentioned, in particular, after the first quarter, which was somewhat slow and tentative, things have really ignited here.
All right, then we'll take a break with 15 minutes to go in this soccer game. The Stallions 4 and the
it out. They can see how difficult those balls are to judge, John.
Off the Musenfechter, breaking into the corner. Musenfechter being marked by Pisano, looking for a bit of help from his teammates. Quick shot by Musenfechter, actually bounces it off, takes his own rebound, goes in, score! The Steamers take the lead, 5-4.
What a splendid amount of work for number 16, the former All-American at Flow Valley, and then at UMSL. Dan Musenfechter getting a second goal of the year, a third of the year, second of the evening. Watch it again. Here's Musenfechter creating something out of absolutely nothing. Using the near boards when he has no options, and then on the ensuing scrimmage, the ball breaks loose to Dan, who hits it first time, eluding Jim May on his goal line, and that's a go-ahead, John. Very nice play by Dan Musenfechter.
And you saw Jim May get a piece of the ball, and you'll see it here again. Did get a piece of the ball, but not enough to take it out, and Dan Musenfechter with a lot of good work around the goal, just not giving up.
Number 10, Drew Ferguson, obstructed his view, and Dan Musenfechter gets his second of the evening. Good work by Dan. Made the play possible, John, by going deep into the corner, running to the open space for the long flighted ball. So he created the entire thing.
Made sure to follow his own rebound. In most any sport, when you have that kind of angles being played, you do have to follow your own rebound. He did it that time and stayed in the play and got himself a goal on it. In any case, the Steamers take the lead, 5-4 over the Buffalo Stallions here in Buffalo. And we've got 8 minutes and 47 seconds to go.
Foul as John Stremlau heads the ball down to Tony Glavin, and Tony actually was inside the area when he was fouled.
Maybe what Carl Rose is complaining about. They'll put it into play anyway. That's John Stremlau. A couple of fakes. Looking on the set play. Glavin again. Carl Rose back to Glavin. Score!
Oh, is that a beautiful goal here in the waning stages. A 1-2 in a close, tightly congested, compact area. Any two men in the world can beat anyone, and it happened once again there as Tony Glavin gets a beautiful 1-2 pass from Carl Rose. This is beautiful stuff here as Glavin lays the ball off the Rose. Glavin goes into the open space, anticipating the return pass from Rose. He gets it, makes no mistake, and that is beautiful soccer.
So Tony Glavin and Carl Rose putting on a soccer clinic on that play. You just don't see any prettier soccer than that. 3:52 to go. The Steamers with a very important insurance goal, taking a 6-4 lead over the Buffalo to beat a 2-on-1. Glavin has Bick. Sam Bick has the angle. Tony Glavin scores! Getting most of the glory, but Musenfechter and a lot of other guys helping out.
Some really pretty goals being scored tonight by the Steamers on 2-1, 1-2, 2 wall pass give-and-go situations. And then Dan Musenfechter, that splendid solo effort as he flighted a long ball from his own end and then hit it first time. And then the dead ball situation between Tim Walters and Ian Anderson.
Some of the classic soccer being played by St. Louis tonight. One of the games that Dave Clements, I think, probably would find pretty hard to find too many mistakes when he talks to the guys afterwards. They played some excellent soccer.
Well, Dave always has a comprehensive plan, Dave, and excuse me, John. And the players know his game plan. And they've pretty much stuck to it this evening, and it's paid good dividends.
Steamers about to go 7-2 under Dave Clements, and about to go over 500 in the first time, for the first time since most of us can remember. 50 seconds away. 3 stars selected in this game. Number 3, Mike Lashev of the Buffalo Stallions. The number 2 star is Tony Glavin. And the number 1 star selected, Carl Rose. Interesting choice.
Indeed it is, and I think that Sam Bick would definitely show up in that star of the game category in some particular aspect, but that's not for me to decide, as another member of the media made his selections here in the odd this evening.
Both Rose and Bick playing excellent games on defense. We're just about down to the 30-second mark remaining in this game. The Steamers 7 and the Stallions 4. Carl Rose down there, helping to boot it away, going all the way down. Just the delaying tactic. And the Stallions will bring it up. And this one, of course, is history. The Steamers are going to go 12-11. The Buffalo Stallions will have the identical record at the conclusion of this contest. 13 seconds to go in the soccer game. And the Steamers will just kind of one touch and bat it around and stall a bit, put on a few moves, and just kill off the clock. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3. And the crowd helping to count it down. And this soccer game's over. The St. Louis Steamers have defeated the Buffalo Stallions by a final score of 7-4, and we'll be back to wrap things up.
The second star of the game, he has 3 goals. Tim Walters with the goal, Ribbon Lane scores, and Dan Musenfechter proving to be a very valuable added addition this evening as he gets 2. and his second and third of the year. And as I mentioned, John, during the course of the game, when key personnel are absent from the contest, very importantly coming forward are players like Dan Muslefector to get 2 goals. Tony Glavin, certainly nothing new in the offensive production aspect of the game for him. He gets 3, Redmond Lane 1, and Tim Walters continuing to play good offensive soccer for the Steamers. So a good overall balanced attack, and the defensive quartet of Neil Cohen, Jefferson Dobry, Carl Rose, and Sam Bick simply playing remarkably well.
And you have to say a word for Manny Schwartz, who was pressed into service tonight as Slobo could not go. He had a badly sprained right wrist, and Manny came in, and despite the 4 goals, because there were some other mistakes on defense and things happening, really I thought Manny played a pretty good game tonight.
He played very good, John, and showing absolutely no rustiness whatsoever, and due to the fact that he hasn't played since December 17th, reacting very well and quickly getting up off his feet after going down to make saves.
Okay, then, we'll be back with a final word right after you see this.